What was Stacey like as a child?
Very inquisitive, not afraid of anything, always asking questions.
Always asking why.
Yes, she was only allowed 3 whys in a day sometimes.
I know I was very stubborn and headstrong even as a kid, so my mom had her work cut out.
And because was never an answer. She'd tell you, that's not an answer, Mom. Why?
Because I wanted to know why. And because I said so, that's not an answer.
Do you find yourself asking why, even today?
Oh, absolutely, especially today. Because I don't understand how my life became what it is today.
What's the next thing you remember?
Waking up in the hospital with a detective asking me what I did.
The voice you've just heard is Ashley Wallace's. A year before, Ashley was living a happy life with her sister, Bree, and her mother, Stacey, who was also her best friend. On the night of August 13, 2007, 19-year-old Ashley's life took a disturbing turn. The following morning, on September 14, Ashley Wallace was found lying on her bed, unresponsive, next to an empty bottle of alcohol, prescription pills, and a letter. In the letter, Ashley confesses in detail to 2 murders, that of David Castor and that of Michael Wallace, her own father. The problem is that Ashley didn't write that letter. In 2007, the quiet community of Clay is shaken forever. And what happened to Ashley that night will reveal one of the most disturbing serial killers the state of New York has ever seen.
I need an ambulance. My daughter, I believe, has taken some pills.
Is that her?
Oh, she's throwing up. She left the letter.
What?
Left the note. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Oh my God, this is not happening.
The year is 1999. In the small town of Weedsport, New York, 11-year-old Ashley Wallace lives with her family, her father, Michael, her mother, Stacey, and her little sister, Bree. While she loves spending time with her mechanic father, Ashley shares a much closer bond with Stacey, her mother. November 1999. Ashley is unaware that the relationship between her parents has deteriorated. Stacey is considering divorce. But Stacey responds that with the holidays approaching, it's not the right time. She says she will consider the divorce after the new year. However, Ashley notices her mother starting to become more irritable and aggressive.
More of the discipline came from Stacey than my dad. The more affection came from him, and the punishing came from her.
December 1999. Michael Wallace suddenly falls ill, complaining of dizziness and spending most of his time in bed. He visits a doctor explaining how he feels drunk, even though he hasn't been drinking. The doctor treats him for an ear infection and sends him home. But the truth is that Michael is being poisoned. On December 24, Christmas Eve, Michael attends a Christmas dinner at his mother's house, but he seems worse than ever.
The first time that I noticed my brother, he was like bloated. His face was bloated, his hands were bloated. I asked him what was wrong, and he said, I haven't been feeling well. I got a cold, that kind of stuff. Okay.
As the days go by, his condition continues to worsen. January 11, 2000, Ashley Wallace's life takes a disturbing turn for the worse. After returning from school, Ashley finds her father sleeping on the couch, as he has been doing for most of the past few weeks.
Came home, and I called my mom to tell her that I was home, and he was laying on the couch. I got off the phone with her, and I turned the TV on. I remember him making this funny noise. He put his arm up, then he put his arm back down, and that was the last time that he moved. I left to go get my sister, and I got home, and when I got home, Stacey had just got home too because she was going to take my dad to the doctor's. I remember I was standing right behind her, and when I looked in, my dad's feet were this purple color.
Michael is rushed to the hospital, While the doctors do everything they can, it's already too late. Michael died of an apparent heart attack.
I was there for a half hour with him by myself, not knowing that if I had known what I know now, he wouldn't be. I could have helped him.
The secret of Michael's death will be buried with him. Stacey Wallace, now a widowed mother of 2 young girls, inherits her late husband's life insurance worth $55,000. After renovating the house with the money, Stacey takes the girls to Disney World and becomes the fun-loving mother Ashley once knew, her best friend. But something is different. In 2001, a year later, in the small town of Liverpool, New York, David Castor leads a prosperous life as the owner of a successful heating company. After a recent divorce, he enjoys a comfortable lifestyle, a lifestyle he quickly begins to share with Stacey Wallace, who, in his eyes, is a loving mother of 2 young girls. Immediately, Ashley and Bree do not like David and do not want to see their father replaced so quickly. On August 16, 2003, less than 2 years after the couple first met, David and Stacey get married. The marriage takes everyone by surprise, especially because none of David's family is invited, not even his own son, David Jr.
If you could see the smile on his face at my graduation party, it's just like he's like a proud father.
Stacey Wallace becomes Stacey Castor. Immediately, she and her 2 daughters moved to David's house in Liverpool, an improvement in the single mother's lifestyle. While the couple couldn't be happier, Ashley and Bree do not approve of David as their stepfather. The growing tension between them makes life at home a nightmare. As the months pass, David and the girls start to grow closer. As Ashley prepares to graduate, she still doesn't know how proud her stepfather is of her.
They had gotten married and did not tell anybody. I had no idea he was getting married.
But as Ashley and David's relationship improves, the love of the new couple is deteriorating. Stacey and David constantly argue. On August 22, 2005, 2 years after the couple's marriage, the sheriff's office in Syracuse, New York, receives a disturbing emergency call. Stacey explains to the operator that she and David had a 7-hour argument the night before. According to her story, David got drunk, took the bottle of Southern Comfort, and locked himself in the room, refusing to come out. Immediately, the operator dispatches the police to the Castor's house. When the sheriff's deputies arrive on the scene, they break into David's room to find him lying face down, naked in bed.
Police communications, can I help you?
My name is Stacey Castor. My husband has locked himself in our bedroom for the last day. I'm just getting a little concerned because I haven't talked to him since 5 o'clock in the morning on Sunday when he locked me out of the bedroom.
The police found an open bottle of antifreeze lying on the floor beside the bed. Emergency paramedics pronounced David dead at the scene. The scene suggests that David took his own life after locking himself in and consuming a lethal dose of antifreeze. A police officer finds a syringe for basting turkey with green liquid inside in the kitchen trash can. As the body is brought in for an autopsy, Stacey is taken to the sheriff's office for further questioning. She calls Ashley to share the updates. Ashley is devastated, losing a second father figure, but still has no idea how dangerous her mother is. A wife who kills her husbands is often referred to as a black widow, in reference to the infamous spider known for killing its mate. However, Stacey Castor will eventually take this to a whole new level. While the investigation into David's death awaits further forensic results, Stacey remains free. When David's will is read, he leaves everything to Stacey, his company, his house, all his vehicles, and nothing for his own son, David Jr. The year is 2006, 1 year after David Castor's death. Detective Spinelli receives the forensic evidence from the case. The results show that the turkey baster syringe contained antifreeze inside, and the cup that held antifreeze had 3 fingerprints, all belonging to Stacey Castor. The blood tests also show inconsistencies with what Stacey had told the 911 operator.
Friday night, he got heavily intoxicated, slept through the day on Saturday.
She claimed that David had gotten drunk that weekend. The results show no trace of alcohol in his blood. District Attorney William Fitzpatrick, along with Detective Spinelli, is now convinced that David Castor was murdered by Stacey. However, To be sure, they need more than just a few fingerprints.
Absent a confession or an eyewitness, it's a massive process. I mean, we literally have to interview hundreds and hundreds of people.
The ideal scenario would be to interview Stacey's first husband, the father of Ashley and Bree, Michael Wallace.
It turns out we can't talk to him because he's dead.
And that's when the trouble for Stacey Castor really starts. I told her that we needed to close the case out one way or the other, and I need to have some questions answered.
She seemed nervous. She was pacing.
It was at this moment that she discovers that the detectives, along with the district attorney, exhumed her first husband's body. They tell her they found antifreeze in his body, just as they did in the body of David Castor, her second husband. Then Detective Spinelli asks her a question that will trigger a dangerous sequence of events.
And I said, Stacey, there's 2 glasses on here. Can you tell me which glass it was that you recall bringing into the room when you gave him cranberry juice? And she looked at it and said, well, when I poured the antifreeze, and then she stopped and said, I mean the cranberry juice.
Those of us that were watching the interview went, oh my God, that was a Freudian slip that she couldn't control.
And she said, I don't like this. You're trying to frame me. You're trying to pin this on me. I'm done. And she stopped the interview. It was apparent that Stacey was extremely nervous. We decided the next step would be to obtain wiretap on Stacey's phones.
Stacey is now cornered. She knows that the police will charge her with both murders unless she can outsmart them. Time is running out for Stacey, but what the investigators didn't anticipate is how far Stacey Castor is willing to go to hide her crimes. On September 14, 1 week after Stacey Castor's second interview, the detectives listening to wiretaps in Stacey Castor's house come across a disturbing scene.
Investigators who are listening on the wiretap hear a 911 call from Stacey Castor.
I need an ambulance. My daughter, I believe, has taken some pills. Is she conscious? Yes, she's normal. I'm leaning over her. Ashley, she's having trouble, I think. It sounds like there's something in her throat. Ashley. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Oh my God, this is not happening.
Immediately, the police are dispatched to the Castor's house on Wetzel Road. While Ashley barely fights for her life, her mother explains that there is an empty bottle of vodka and prescribed pills next to her bed. Bree Wallace, Stacey's second daughter, 16 years old, is in the room with her. She hands her a note left next to Ashley.
Mommy, remember that I love you more than anything, and I did it for you and for us. I couldn't let Daddy be mean to you and me anymore. Please forgive me, Mommy. Please don't hate me.
In the letter, Ashley confesses to the murders of David Castor and Michael Wallace, her own father providing intricate details of how she poisoned both. But there's something odd about the letter. It's 750 words in length, typed. Even the name Ashley is typed at the bottom. The truth is, Ashley never wrote this letter. When the emergency professionals arrive at the Castor's house, Ashley doesn't respond.
She wasn't talking. She looked petrified.
Her eyes are wide open, but she's not seeing anything.
She is rushed to the hospital, barely holding on to life. If she dies, no one will know what really happened.
She was in intensive care. They weren't sure she was going to live.
I can tell you that that is one of the lowest moments of my life. I would have accepted partial responsibility for the death of Ashley Wallace.
But while the letter left next to Ashley details how Michael Wallace was murdered, Ashley was only 11 years old at the time. Could a child be capable of devising such an elaborate plan? Stacey Castor's carefully crafted plan almost convinces the investigators. However, regardless of what the police think, because they have a confession in their hands unless Ashley wakes up, she will be charged with the murder of both her parents, and Stacey Castor will go free after killing her own daughter and framing her for the crime.
My biggest fear was that Ashley was going to die.
First time, investigators finally hear how Stacey Castor attempted to frame Ashley for her own crime. Ashley's story begins on September 12, 2 days earlier.
It was several hours for Ashley to work through whatever she had ingested and start to come out of it.
I actually woke up in the hospital and I had no idea what day it was. I had no idea where I was.
What the detectives don't know is that Stacey had already tipped off Ashley, making sure her daughter was on her side, manipulating her to get angry with the police instead.
Hello?
Mommy, they came to my freaking school.
They came to your school? Are you okay?
I'm gonna be okay, but I'm really freaking out right now.
Oh my God. That bastard came to your school. Do you want me to come and get you?
No, I have to be here.
All right, calm down and go back to class, all right?
I love you.
I love you too.
Around 5 p.m., Stacey suggests to Ashley to drown her sorrows with alcohol.
We've had a rough week, let's just get drunk. I was like, cool, you know? What kind of teenager wouldn't think that was awesome? My parents just gave you permission to drink. It was weird, like how tired I actually got from finishing that drink. And so I told her I was gonna go lay down because I was about to pass out. Like, that's how drunk I felt off of one drink.
On September 13, the following morning, Ashley wakes up with a terrible hangover. She goes to school, comes back home, and once again, Stacey suggests they drink. This time, she says, let's get really drunk.
I could taste the vodka in it. It was very strong and it made me cringe. And I asked her if she could take it back and put either more orange juice in it or more Sprite in it.
Stacey goes to the kitchen and brings back a straw for her. She tells her to put the straw at the back of her throat and just drink. Ashley does as her mother says and passes out. Later that night, Bree returns to find her sister has been asleep all day.
I opened the door a little bit. My mom came out of like nowhere and closed the door. She's fine. I'm like, really? And like, to me, that was weird. Right then and there, I was like, are you sure she's okay? Mom's like, she's sleeping, and I hope she sleeps through the entire night.
The next morning, Bree hears a strange noise coming from Ashley's room.
She was making that noise when she was breathing out. And her eyes were all glassed over, and she had thrown up. And I called her name, and she didn't answer me, and I shook her, and she didn't wake up. Even though she wasn't, like, responding to anything, she looked scared.
Did you think that you were losing her?
I did.
If it weren't for her sister, Bree, Ashley would have died in her bed 10 minutes later. When Ashley wakes up in the hospital, she and her sister Bree are faced with a shocking new reality. Their mother just tried to kill Ashley.
When I woke up and saw that police officer standing there, I absolutely knew that I didn't do it. And she was the only one there, so it had to have been her.
Upon hearing Ashley's story, District Attorney Fitzpatrick orders the immediate arrest of Stacey Castor.
Made the conscious decision to arrest her right there on the property of the hospital.
But a Liverpool woman tonight is charged with killing her husband, and investigators say it appears this is not the first time.
What shocked the community was the idea that a mother would attempt to murder her own daughter to save her own skin, to blame her for the murders of her two husbands. What could be more basic than a mother's love for her child?
On January 13, 2009, the trial of Stacey Castor begins. 1 year after her mother tried to kill her and frame her for murder, Ashley attends the court. The prosecutor is District Attorney William Fitzpatrick. He has prepared Ashley for this moment, but she faces an incredible challenge, finding her mother in the courtroom, the woman she had trusted her whole life and who betrayed her.
There were other parts of me that are still the little kid and were afraid of that mom look she was going to give me, like, I am so disappointed in you that you're up there testifying against me.
The worst part is that Stacey Castor's only defense is to convince the jury that Ashley killed both her parents. All Stacey needs is reasonable doubt from one of the jurors, and she walks free. Fitzpatrick makes a bold move by calling Ashley to the witness stand as the first witness.
I want to ask you about the day your dad died.
I saw him take and lift his arm up, and then he made a breath, and then he didn't move again after that. So I thought he was just sleeping.
As Ashley tells her story, she becomes visibly upset.
I wanted to be sitting right next to her and holding her hand and helping her, and she shouldn't have had to go through that alone.
As the hours pass, Fitzpatrick guides her to talk about the night her mother tried to...
She came home and she was like, let's get drunk. Let's get just totally drunk.
Now, Ashley, I want you to explain to the jury, if the cup tasted bad and you didn't enjoy it, why would you drink it?
Because I trusted her.
What's the next thing you remember?
Waking up in the hospital with a detective asking me what I did. What did you drink? What did you do? What did you take? What did you write in that note? But I didn't know what he was talking about because I didn't write a note and I didn't take anything.
The trial lasts 3 long weeks. The evidence against Stacey Castor is overwhelming. Investigators collected forensic evidence from the home computer. It shows that the letter was finalized on September 12th at 2:27 p.m. Ashley couldn't have written that letter because she was at school. In fact, it was on the same day she called her mother at home in a panic. The letter was written on Stacey's computer account, and she was the only one at home at the time.
I'd never seen anything like it before in my life. It's got detail about the death of David Castor. It's got detail about why Ashley tried to take her own life. Whoever wrote that note killed Mike Wallace and killed David Castor.
It wasn't a note. It was a confession. And it was Stacey Castor that confessed in that note.
Furthermore, a friend of Stacey admits to helping forge David Castor's will after his death, making Stacey the sole beneficiary, evidence that brings relief to her son, David Castor Jr. When the defense attorney put Stacey on the witness stand, it was a surprise, but prosecutor Fitzpatrick was prepared.
Did Ashley poison him?
I did not poison him.
When did Ashley poison him?
I can't answer that question.
When the trial ends, it takes 4 emotional days for the verdict to be announced. Stacey Castor was found guilty on all charges. She was sentenced to 54 years in prison.
People of the state of New York versus Stacey R. Castor, the jury's reached a verdict. As to count number 1, murder in the second degree, what is the verdict?
Guilty.
On count 2, attempted murder in the second degree, what's the verdict?
Guilty.
After the trial, Ashley and Bree moved on with their lives with the help of family and friends, but not without facing their own difficulties. Due to Stacey, whom she refuses to call mother now, Ashley lost so many memories with her father.
You're not just a danger to the general public, you're a danger to the people who love you and are closest to you. And I believe that the sentence I'm about to impose will remove that danger once and for all.
She says, as hard as it is to get up every day and smile, I know I have to do it, because if I don't, then Stacey wins.
I graduated from college. I got my associate's degree in accounting. I work at a CPA firm and I'm a bookkeeper. I would have never done any of that stuff if I still was with Stacey. I wake up and I'm happy every day. I couldn't change a thing that I'm doing right now.
William Fitzpatrick, who supported Ashley during the trial, developed a close bond with her. He promised to walk her down the aisle on her wedding day. Although never proven, it is suspected that Stacey Castor killed her own father in 2002 in the same manner as she did with David Castor and Michael Wallace. After going unpunished for years, she died in prison in 2016. Stacey never expected her downfall to come from her own daughters. Ashley and Bree's love for each other defeated a serial killer, and now living a full life is their best revenge.